What is up, my dudes? Welcome back to Storytime with your favorite Reddit fairy. My name is Lorna, and today we're looking at the subreddit r/TalesFromTechSupport. Oh, it's like ripping off an old band-aid, but without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. The tech equivalent of checking under your couch. Posted by user QuimGrassado9. As previously mentioned before, senior tech support for the fruit-based company. This one happened just a few hours ago. There were only 20 minutes left before the line closed. Customers can call until 15 minutes before closing, and this call came in with 20 seconds to spare. The cast is me and the customer. Customer: Hi, I've updated my phone to the latest version and I've lost a folder with a bunch of notes. Can you help? Usual fruit care speech to assure that help is on the way and screen sharing offer. We check the settings for notes. All good. Check her accounts that are syncing to notes. All good. We go into notes. She has 4 different folders for each notes account: iCloud, 2 Gmail, and an Outlook. Me: So what folder is missing? Customer: The On My iFruit folder. It had about 30 notes. Me: Okay, can you scroll down a bit? She scrolls down, and lo and behold, all the notes she wanted were there. Customer: Oh my god, how did I not think of this? I feel so stupid. Me: It's quite alright. We sometimes don't think about the simpler stuff. Have a nice evening. And 2.5 minutes later, I get to sit back, relax, and enjoy the 10 minutes of looking at a clear call queue before leaving. I noticed this happens a lot with like Windows updates and stuff, and it changes the resolution slightly or something. So before, when there wasn't any scroll bars on the bottom or on the side of the screen, there are now, but they don't think to look because they never had to do that before, so it kind of throws them off. But it's kind of troubling that in this day and age, in 2019, I'm sounding like a freaking boomer at this point, but no offense to boomers. In this day and age, you would think that more people would be aware of different screen resolutions, considering how, like, anytime you buy a TV, it's like, 1920 megapixel, blah, blah. You know, it's always got the megapixels being advertised in your face. It's kind of a common thing now, but resolutions and all that, but whatever. That's what keeps us in jobs, I guess, right? People like this. Users are the enemy. Posted by user Diane Deeks, I think. I went out to help my boyfriend's nonprofit the other day. He was rolling out new phones. I had the day off due to arbitrary holidays at my company and decided to bring him lunch. I happen to be a software support customer service and well known for my customer service skills, so when everything went to hell, I answered dumb questions. Example: how do I add my email? Which password do I need to enter? While my boyfriend deals with the bigger problems. The next day, I'm at work and go on break, only to come back to a gorgeous flower arrangement that was delivered while I was gone. I know he's the only one to send me flowers, so I assume it's from him. When I open the note and it reads, "'Cause you helped me with my stupid fucking users," and nothing else. So why are users the enemy? I'm waiting for a good story and it's just about how you got flowers. Whoopie-doo. I mean, that's awesome. Yay, if you like that kind of thing. I don't. I think getting flowers, especially in public, is awkward and weird, and especially with someone with social anxiety, and then people start coming up to you and asking you, like, "Oh, where'd you get those from?" And you're like, "I don't want to have small talk with you. Just leave me alone." I mean, I would assume I wouldn't want to get flowers in public, I don't think. Or, you know, flowers at all, really, because it's just a waste. You just watch them die. You know what I mean? Like, it's a multi-million-dollar industry, and for what? You're killing things and just so your house smells good or whatever. But, like, I don't know. I'd rather just have a garden, but I have no green thumb, so I'll just appreciate other people's gardens. Yeah, that's not how that works. Posted by user MartyDum99. In high school, about 2 to 3 years ago, I worked at a locally owned computer repair shop that was praised for our quality custom-built computers and excellent customer service. We had one older lady who bought a new Windows 10 desktop because her 15 to 20, not exaggerating, year-old computer stopped working. Quite frankly, my coworkers and I were shocked it lasted that long. Anyways, she picked up her computer and a couple of hours later, she calls saying her mouse doesn't work and she's pretty fed up. I was the one who answered, so I walked her through the basics. Make sure the USB is tightly secured. Try plugging it into another port. Is the light at the bottom on? Stuff like that. After about 5 to 10 minutes of troubleshooting, I asked her to please bring the computer back in and we can take a quick look at it for her. When she stopped in, we took the computer in the back and lo and behold, the mouse worked just fine. We then called her to the back room and showed her that the mouse was working fine, and we asked her if she could play with it for a couple of minutes so we could see if she can recreate the issue. What I saw brought me to a complete loss of words. The lady took the mouse, lifted it off the table, and pointed it at the cursor on the screen and started to move the mouse to what she wanted to click on. See? It's not working again. You're lying to me, so I'll have to buy a new one. Edit. If you're wondering how she used her old mouse for 20 years, my coworker had a theory. He thought since her old PC had a ball mouse and this was her first time using a laser mouse, she thought she didn't have to keep it on the table anymore. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't get it. I mean, like, the shape of the mouse hasn't really changed all that much. I mean, why would you ever, like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why would that be your resort to just put it on the screen and point and click? What? No, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like those people that think, you know, touchscreens, they're used to touchscreens, and then all of a sudden they get a computer without a touchscreen and they flip out and they're like, it's not working when I click on the screen. Well, this isn't a touchscreen, you fucking dum-dum. Like, I miss these problems. I never thought I would say that. I miss them so much. A is for accents, B is for bass, C is for curses. Posted by user Amethyst Air. A while back, I was doing tech support for a web hosting company. The customer would give us a 4-digit code to validate their account, and I'd enter it into a box in my UI that would unlock the rest of the page. It worked pretty well, except for when it didn't. Anyway, I worked the graveyard shift, so I'd get lots of Asian and Australian customers. I'd sometimes have trouble understanding them though through the headset, but if I turned the volume up, I'd usually be able to make out what they were saying. One day, I had a very polite Australian gentleman call in about a problem he was having with his site. It was an issue I'd seen hundreds of times before, and I assured him it would be a very quick and simple fix. The only problem was his very, very deep voice, as well as his very, very strong Aussie accent. There's nothing wrong with either of those things, unless you're an agent trying to understand the double whammy of accent and pitch through a headset speaker that probably costs less to make than a single M&M. Our story starts when I ask for the validation code. Me. That should be a quick fix. I just need the 4-digit validation code for your account before I can start. Would I be able to get that from you? Customer. Sure. It's... Me. Turns headset up a bit. Sorry, I just turned the headset volume up a bit. Could I get that one more time? Customer. No problem. It's ABC blah blah blah. Me. Turns up the volume more. It's ABC and then what? Customer. S. Me. Turns the volume up even more. S like Sally? Customer. No, it's blah like blah blah. Me. Turns the headset to maximum volume, to the point where the people next to me are giving me weird looks. Sorry, the connection is a bit choppy. Could you say that one more time? Customer. R like rowboat. Me. R like rowboat? Customer. No. A like apple. Me. A like apple. Customer. No. P like pizza. Me. P like pizza? Customer. No. Q like quiche. Me. Q like quiche? Customer. No! I'm really sorry. The headset I have isn't great, and I'm really struggling to understand you. Can I try to get it one last time? Customer. Away from phone. Oh, for fuck's sake! Pause. F for fuck! Me. Oh! Enters ABCF and starts laughing. That worked. Thanks for validating. Let me get that fixed for you. Customer starts laughing too. Maybe I should lead with that next time. We both had a good chuckle, and as promised, I was able to fix his issue pretty quickly. That company was terrible in the end, but I had a few good calls while I was there. TLDR, F is for fuck. You guys know I love this story. This is great. I love that customer. That customer's like my bro, dude. God, it's so good. F is for fuck. I like it. Our last consultant disappeared. Can you take over? Posted by user Law Techie. I'm between jobs and picking up the occasional 1 or 2 day security project to keep busy. One day, a recruiter asks me to help out with a problem that requires me to be on site a few states away. Nothing about this gig was straightforward, but the rate was too good to ignore. Recruiter. We placed the person there. They did a bunch of evaluation work, but then they went radio silent before explaining everything to the client. Me. And you want me to do what? Recruiter. Look over his work and present it to their CEO. Me. I'm not so sure. Flying out and back is some wear and tear. Recruiter. They'll fly you. Me. I figured they'd take care of it. Recruiter. No. They have a plane. They'll fly you. Now I'm intrigued. I agree. I get a dump of internal docs and a draft report with a bunch of notes. The client is a niche software as a service provider. Their customers are large entities with a penchant for vintage or unsupported software that runs everything. Client's platform lets them still use them and work with less obsolete partners. Client's got a steady income stream, but doesn't want to spend any money they don't have to. Their infrastructure is mostly sane, but there's some things I want to call out. I prep a few slides to present the findings. A few days before the meeting, I'm told that John, the guy recruiter previously placed, has surfaced from hiding and will be coming out with me. We're also going to be presenting to client's new security engineer, who is coming in to meet us. I fly out with recruiter and John on a small jet to client city. We bullshit for a while, but John is a little wary of me. We land, grab a rental car, and make our way to the hotel, rung up from the usual consultant storage unit. An hour later, I'm in the bar, seeking sustenance, reading a book, sketching out the high points I want to make. For an artificial environment such as a hotel bar, it's busier than I'd expect for a weekday. Pretty much everybody at this bar is a business traveler. Smiles and corporate speak are abundant. Some flirting happens over open laptops. It's fun to watch. For some people, this is a moment away from spouses and children. Perhaps what happens at the Marriott stays at the Marriott. Anyway, I'm trying to list the things that bother me in the client's environment in case John doesn't convince the client or doesn't bring them up. I'm scribbling my notes when someone sits next to me. It's a woman in her mid to late 20s. I'm about to go back into my notes when I see what she's looking at. Two men who look like band members from a forgotten 80s hair metal band are in the bar, looking around. One is wearing a leather jacket and a few bright scarves. The other looks like an extra from Macklemore's thrift shop video. Leather pants with odd buckles, a striped wool shirt, and some kind of fake fur vest make up his ensemble. He's also wearing a top hat with goggles. I try not to stare, but somehow they seem familiar. I smile to the woman sitting next to me, subtly point to the Britney Fox tribute band, and shrug my shoulders, then go back to my notes. I'm trying to order my issues with client without coming across as negative. They're hosting in a colocation facility and claiming all the colo's audits as their own. That'll be a conversation with their salespeople. They're not patching stuff or scanning for vulnerabilities. I'll talk with the security engineer and see if they need suggestions. Maybe they need older systems to be compatible. Maybe we can work out some compromises. Over my drink, I notice that the two oddly dressed people have split up and are slowly working the room. They're approaching women, talking to them for a few minutes, then move on when it seems like they didn't get what they wanted. Maybe they're selling timeshares. I see the recruiter and John make their way into the bar. They make their way to the table and don't seem to notice me. I assume recruiter wants to chastise John about becoming unavailable and discuss whose end my pay is coming out of. I hear a voice behind me and notice that the woman next to me is looking at its owner. Voice: my buddy and I have a bet going. Do you believe in magic spells? Woman: excuse me? I'm curious to see what this is. I turn around to take a look and my jaw drops. Me: Ian? And on to part 2 we go. TLDR, I'm at a client site playing the spare wheel at someone else's project summation/readout meeting. Ian seems to be involved somehow. Ian, a very special colleague, is also found a new way to be memorable and is currently standing behind me at the hotel bar. Me: Ian? Ian: what? Me: what are you doing here? Ian: I'm Sarging. What are you doing? Me: drinking, I guess. I make a mental note to do some Googling later. Ian: well, good luck with that. Ian's oddly dressed friend motioned for him to walk on and they move on to someone else. Woman: friends of yours? Me: I know the one from a past job. Woman: colleagues? Me: more like a cold that lingers on for so long you half get used to it and give it a name and origin story. She laughs and we have meandering conversation while recruiter and John finish up. I wander over to and we work out what each of us are doing. John will be presenting his findings and recommendations and I'll add color to them. We then use our remaining time to have a few more drinks on client's expense. The next morning, I regret that decision. The shower/suit/caffeine routine doesn't put a serious dent in my hangover. Recruiter and John are in somewhat better shape, and we make our way to the client offices. Client offices were the height of fashion. If Bennigan's in 1994 was fine dining. Lots of glossy wood, gold-tone recessed lighting, and card table green paint. We make our way to a conference room that feels as luxurious as my high school homeroom. I wait for a few minutes reviewing my notes while nursing a cup of coffee. Over the next 10 minutes, a handful of people walk in. Russell, a back-slappy silver fox of a salesman. He's all smiles, but most of the other client people seem to respect/fear him. Lynn, client's director of IT. She's usually half focused on a tablet in front of her as if the pot would boil but for her watching. Samantha, a younger woman who seems to take notes about everything. I think she's some kind of project manager. They're waiting for other people, but Samantha forces the proceedings to start close to time. John starts by diving into very specific technical detail, which I'll give you the exact summary. Clients' customers have legacy or obsolete systems that perform complex core business tasks, like payroll, medical billing, or inventory management. These systems are expensive to change, update, or move away from. Clients' customers operate in regulated markets, so they have to do a lot of reporting, which changes on a regular basis. Client has found an interesting niche. They take their customers' data, generate compliant reporting, and spit it back to the customers for a profit. Client is mining the tech debt of quite a few organizations who can't just rip out their old systems. Client isn't going to grow explosively, but they have a captive market. Client's customers do occasionally remember that client has a lot of their sensitive data and puts their operations at risk should client's systems go down. Each customer site has a client-supplied endpoint exposed to the internet on one end, with deep hooks into customer legacy systems. I now return us to the painful readout. John, we found over 6 of the endpoints that had older versions of your API. I'm searching through the report to see where he's at. He's decided to start in an appendix, not the executive summary. Russell is going from looking puzzled to annoyed. Me. Well, what John is saying is that we need to implement regular automated patching for all the endpoints. Lynn looks up from her tablets. We need to keep those endpoints compatible with our customers. We have to patch them by hand. John. But you're at least 12 months behind on patching. Lynn. We had different priorities. I hear a rustling and we have a new participant. Ian. He's better dressed than last night, but he's still Ian. Ian. So what are we talking about? Russell smiles and introduces Ian to us as the client's new security engineer. We go back to our discussion. Me. We're confusing two things. The systems that support the customer-facing APIs aren't patched. I get the APIs have to support the customer's output, but how does upgrading the OS break the customer experience? Lynn. We've had some... Ian, yelling, "It doesn't matter! The APIs themselves are secure! We tested them!" John, "The systems themselves are problematic. We kept locking up the test system with our scans." Ian, still yelling, "That doesn't mean anything! Who cares if an endpoint locks up?" Me, "Well, if it happens during a batch run, it might break an overnight process. That might result in unhappy customers." Ian, even more yelling, "But your testing broke the test system. You didn't test the production endpoints." John, pointing at his laptop, "For good reason. You want us to test one and see if it all falls over?" Lynn and Russell both shout, "No!" loud enough to make everyone but Ian jump. Ian rambles on about for another minute until Russell shakes his shoulder. I see Russell and Lynn do that Leonidas and Gorgo head nod thing. Lynn puts her tablet down and asks for a 5-minute break. Russell asks John and I if we want coffee. We wander out, leaving Ian with Samantha. Russell engages us with small talk about fishing and local sports team as we walk to a kitchenette with a coffee maker that looks like it was liberated from a diner, and the diner put up a fight. I'm trying to gently nudge past Lynn and Russell to get another cup of coffee in the futile hope that it'll get rid of my headache. Hangover plus Ian is not the winning combination this morning. Lynn, "So, how do you think it's going?" John, "Well, you have a lot of work to do." Russell, "Can we make our customers happy by the end of the quarter?" Lynn, "We need more help." Russell, "We got Ian." Me, "I think Ian's a tool for a different kind of job. Lynn needs to reprioritize or bring some in IT help to clear the backlog on testing and patching. A contractor to do some of the other tasks will help." Russell, "I see. I think we have to do some internal discussion. Thank you for your report." Recruiter, John, and I make our way back to the conference room. Ian is talking at Samantha. Ian, "Actually, I'm very intelligent. I have to hold back with most women." Me, "Hey Samantha, looks like we're done here. Feel free to email with any questions. Ian, see you around." I get my bag and walk out to the parking lot. Recruiter is going to stick around and talk staffing things with Lynn for a minute, so John and I take a quiet Uber ride back to the hotel. As we get into the hotel elevator, John turns to me. John, "What's with that Ian guy?" Me, "He doesn't have issues. He has the whole subscription." I take a nap for a few hours, then walk about the hotel for a distraction. I notice a few oddly dressed young men, similar to Ian and his friend from the night before. I follow them to a conference room where it seems someone is setting up a seminar. I spend a minute looking at an easel describing the Neuro-Linguistic Seduction Workshop, or something similar. One oddly dressed man sizes me up and saunters over with a grin. ODM, one oddly dressed man. "Hey, are you interested in the seminar? You'll have to get some cooler threads if you want to channel all this power." Oddly dressed man points at himself with his thumbs. Me, "What do you charge for all this?" Oddly dressed man smiles wider. Oddly dressed man, "That's a question an average frustrated chump would ask. What you should ask is if you're willing to change." Me, Good luck, man. I love your con. I flew home that evening with Recruiter and John. Recruiter told me that client liked me enough to offer me a job, if I was willing to move. John got some sweet after work, and Ian was free to take more pickup artist training. So this wasn't so much about tech support, but just this disgusting Chad-like guy. Oh, gross. Pickup artists. That's still a thing? Like, that's... Women fall for this shit? Come on, girls. Wake the fuck up. Don't fall for a cheesy line that some guy throws at you. Oh, don't make these guys money. Please don't. They're so gross. I was really hoping that was going to be more about tech support, but, whatever. Do with it what you will. That was a long one, and we're going to get into some more because I have quite a few more stories for you in true Reddit fairy fashion, of course. Let's get it. A tale from long ago, posted by user Chris.p. Not a tech support chat, but like many, I know my way around well enough to be the first port of call for family and friends having difficulties. This incident made me realize just how ignorant and naive people can be when it comes to computery stuff, and you should never assume that they have even the flimsiest grasp of the basics. This happened in the early 1990s when PCs were hulking great lumps on or under your desk. Monitors were heavy CRTs you had to clean the fluff from your mouse balls every few weeks. Internet was dial-up. Photoshop came on 12 3.5-inch floppy disks, and Windows NT was the latest thing. My dad is the guilty party. Even today, the PC is a confusing jumble of things to him. Every icon on his desktop is a file, even if it's a folder, or a drive, or whatever. He can't get his head around the fact that there are different passwords for his internet connection, for Google, for his email, etc. That's all just the internet. And 30 years ago, he was even less clued up than he is today. I should point out that my dad isn't thick. He was a senior board level in a very well-known large company before taking early retirement. But technology isn't his strong point. Only last month I had to stop him buying a Chromebook because, no, it's not a phone. The story. My landline. Phone rings. Dad. Help! My programs don't work. Me. Which ones? Dad. All of them. None of them. Me. Okay, tell me what you're doing. Dad. I just click on the file thingy as usual, but nothing happens. There's a bit more to and fro during which a thought occurs to me. Me. Hang on. I thought you were on holiday. Dad. I am. I'm at sister's place. Me. And you took everything with you? Dad. All my programs, yes. Me. But not the PC and everything. Dad. No, that's all too heavy. Me. Well, whatever you think you're doing is not what you're actually doing. We'll sort this out when you get back. Dad. But I need to be able to do something. Me. Doesn't sister have a PC you could use? Dad. I'm using hers, but it won't let me launch my programs. Me. Baffled. I have no idea what you're on about. Give me a ring when you get back. Which he does. Dad. All sorted. They all work now. Me. Okay, but I'll come round at the weekend to see what the problem was. I got him to take me through his workflow, from turning the PC on to launching a program. After booting up the PC successfully, he inserted a floppy disk which popped open a window showing its contents. A single Word file named something like My Stuff. He then opened the Word file, which consisted of a single page, which had shortcuts to programs, documents, etc. strewn across it. And of course, when he double-clicked on one of these, it opened the document or launched the program. So in his mind, those little icon thingies were the programs and documents. I got him to confirm that this was how he operated all the time, then tried to explain what shortcuts were, why they worked okay on his PC, but not hundreds of miles away on someone else's. He really struggled to understand why taking the floppy on holiday and expecting this to either contain everything on his PC or create a magic gateway to his PC at home, which was turned off, would never work. I never got a sensible answer about why everything got put into a Word document. This reminds me of people of similar age who are so opinionated and think they know the inner workings of science and vaccines and politics, and they don't even understand that you can't access your files from shortcuts on a disk. Like, how do you understand the complexities of science and okay, no, not going there. Okay, moving on. You're not helpful. Posted by user MikeyJ0627. Cast, user, and me. Today, I was working at the level 1 service desk for a large company. We get a lot of calls about all kinds of general issues that we then resolve or send to a higher level team. I was working on resolving a couple of tickets I have in my queue when I got connected with a user over chat. User said that they were having issues connecting their Bluetooth headphones to a Windows 10 computer. Normally this isn't something we support, but I was feeling super helpful. User said that they were at work a couple of days ago. So I go through basic troubleshooting. Are the devices on? Are they connected to something else? Are they in pair mode? I then had the user go to the Bluetooth settings on the computer to try to connect them. Around that time, the chat disconnected. This happens time to time. I send the user an instant message to try to reconnect. User then says I wasn't helpful and he didn't want my help. Cool with me. I'm going on break. What? I've had this happen to me before too, when I'm like literally just about to get them to fix whatever they're calling in about, and they just disconnect the call with an attitude because they're like, she's making me do stuff. Just fix it. I'm sorry, you fucking crazy fucking assholes. We do not have a fix it now button that just magically fixes your problems. Yes, oh no, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to get a fucking ladder to climb up into the ceiling to turn on the thin client that you guys thought it would be a great idea to put into the ceiling. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have magical abilities to turn your equipment on for you. Fucking twats. I should have seen it coming. Posted by user Gildor Inglorian. Rule 1. Users always lie. Sometimes it's not blatant or intentional. Sometimes it's a lie of omission. Store manager. Nice guy, but he gets excited to the point of distraction. E1 and E2. Hapless employees who are far from technical and are aware of that fact, but can take instruction. So I get a call at my desk, late morning, from store manager at the remote store, where store manager, employee 1, and employee 2 are working. Employee 1 couldn't access the remote app. I start going through my normal steps to determine the cause, and the store manager starts jokingly belittling IT in general. The further I get into my troubleshooting, the less funny store manager's joking becomes, to the point I actually tell him to stop. He's on speakerphone at this point, so employee 1 and employee 2 are an audience. By the time I've determined there is no internet at the site, store manager needs to leave for a meeting and passes me off to employee 1. I'm having employee 1 check the equipment while I'm referencing a photo showing all the gear on the wall. Confusion starts to set in as reality isn't matching my photo. Employee 2 takes a new photo and emails it to me, and now everything makes sense. Store manager had rearranged the office and taken the firewall off the wall, setting it on a file cabinet. And of course, he didn't plug it back in all the way. Moral of the story. The more a user complains about IT, the more likely the issue is self-inflicted. So fucking true. I've had numerous calls where this was the result of someone moving things, denying they moved it, then I catch them in a bold fucking faced lie that completely contradicts what they just told me moments before, and then we get it all figured out, and it's because somebody fucking moved something. I'm sorry, if you're not familiar with anything other than a start menu on a computer, or even that, don't touch anything. Just don't touch it. Don't touch it. His sound card died. Posted by user thatguy_Gary. Another post reminded me of the time I was able to earn over $2,000 an hour from a service call. I was working in an independent shop at the time and was fairly generous with free diagnostics if you brought the PC in, especially with return customers. One thing we were never flexible with was on-site service. Our rate at the time was $85 an hour with a 2-hour minimum. No exceptions. A tech wouldn't even be scheduled until the minimum was paid up front. A regular came in and said his sound stopped working. He didn't want to disconnect his tower and bring it in, so I ran through a few things with him to check himself before we set up a service call. A couple of hours later, he called and said he didn't get anywhere and would like us to send out a tech. I was available later that day, so I scheduled it and ran his card. When I showed up, I looked through the windows briefly for anything obvious. Nothing is muted. Device manager reports that everything is good. Speakers are plugged into the correct jack and have power. I went to YouTube and started a video. After cranking up the volume, I heard some noise coming from under the desk. Laying down in front of the tower, I see a pair of headphones that are plugged into the front headphone jack. I reach down to unplug them and the speakers start blaring Led Zeppelin. I was a little embarrassed for the guy as he just paid $170 for me to unplug his headphones. I spent about an hour tutoring him before I left so he'd get a little more for his money. Oh, I feel so bad for this guy. Dude, why didn't you just set the primary sound device? You said you checked the settings. Come on. That's a little bit of an oversight, I think. That's all you had to do to show. I hope you showed him that in the future. If he's got two devices plugged in, how he can change them back and forth from each other. I feel so bad for this customer. Seriously? Oh, poor guy. Self-solving user issues. Posted by user 4Moksha. For a while, I did some end-user support in a small company. Periodically, I would get users calling or contacting me on Skype about the printer not printing, or some system not doing what it should do, but normally always did. This being a small company and me trying to provide a good service, I usually dropped everything and walked over there, trying to help that poor user in distress. Here is where it becomes interesting. More often than not, I get to the user and ask him to reproduce the issue. In more cases than I can write off as a statistical anomaly, the problem no longer occurred. The users were flabbergasted, and as they swore to me, it just didn't work. Repeatedly. Naturally, the next question then was, "What did you do?" Me? I did nothing, which is the truth, but they never believed me. Once I got the hang of it, I played along. "What did you do?" My answer, "Do you see these hands?" while wiggling them in front of their faces. Magic. Then I turned around and walked away. After this happened repeatedly, users grew weary of calling me, and the more they expected me to do the magic trick again, the more often it happened. Law of attraction. When that became old, I changed my strategy a little. A user contacts me, and I proceed to ignore him/her for, say, 30 to 45 minutes. More often than not, the problem had gone away by then, even without me showing my magic hands. That always made my day. You gotta wonder too, like, do you not like your coworkers? Because to me, that would just give you me a reason to get away from my desk and kind of stretch my legs a bit and kind of have fun with it. But if you don't like the people, I could see why it would kind of suck if you had to keep going over there. Plus, stupid people kind of annoy me too, so I can kind of see why you'd want to stay away. And the final tale of the day. Woman just doesn't understand how this works. Posted by user Frost_and_blood. Bit of a lurker here. Come from a friend group of IT workers, including myself, where we exchange the horrors we face in our respective workplaces. This was one of the few that stood out. A woman came to him with the following issue. "I am unable to hear the sound from the PowerPoint slides my manager sends me every month. It's not the computer because sounds from other websites come through just fine." So, following this, he goes to check the PowerPoint where there are indeed MP4 files, and they are working just fine. And she even agreed that they work fine. What turned out to be the issue was the woman expected to hear the PowerPoint as if it were a live presentation and that something is going to read the PowerPoint to her. It was absolutely speechless. One other small interaction with the same person went a little like this. Friend, go ahead and sign completely out and then sign back in. Woman, all the way out? Friend, no. halfway out. Yeah, just the tip. Oh my god, I don't understand. What do you even mean by that? Sign all the way out? Like, huh? You sign out or you don't. I don't get it. I don't know how that's a two-parter. I had a similar situation with a certain company that I supported where you would make a change in their services or their policy or something that would require everybody who's using the virtual machine software to log out of the virtual machine and log back in. And you tell them, okay, make sure you log out, log back in. Well, what do? Say they've got the POS system open. Now, what they do, they just exit the order. They don't actually exit the order taking program. They just exit the order and go back in. No, that's not what you got to do. Exit everything. Log out, log out, log out. People don't get this. I don't get it. I don't get how they don't get it, but we have different brains. We understand things differently because we have to face it on an everyday, day-to-day basis. I guess, but it still doesn't make it less frustrating when we deal with people like that. All right, my dudes, thanks for sticking it out with me for this super long episode. I gotta keep doing, I gotta stop doing this. I need to start making these videos shorter so people actually want to stick around till the end, because I tend to get goofier near the ends, I find, because I don't know, whatever. Anyway, thanks for sticking it out. I hope you liked it. If you did, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing and hitting the little bell icon next to it so you can be notified when I have future videos with content just like this, so you never miss one. And as always, the links to these stories will be in the description, so head on over to Reddit and show those posters some love, because you know they fucking deserve it, my dudes. Give them some upvotes. And while you're in the enchanted land of Reddit, head on over to r/RedditFairy and post your stories, my dudes, because you never know, it just might show up in the next episode. So until next time, have a great day, my dudes, and I'll see you in the next one.